Good day. Welcome to another week at the plot. I have been procrastinating today. I had a really busy morning. I had stuff I needed to do with Vanessa for her sake, and also social farms and gardens, and a couple of other things that I had to get done this week. And I was also making a loaf and doing various things. Richard had to go to work unexpectedly for an hour, and then was back. And it just seemed a really sort of jumbled time until about 2 o'clock. And then we had lunch, and I was cooking the loaf, and I thought, shall I go down today? Shall I do my video from home? Because there's something I want to talk to you about re tomatoes. And then it got to, I don't know, about 3:30, and I thought, no, go down. There are things I want to do. I just want to have a note-taking day today. I want to walk around and just make notes of things that I want to do or want to sort out. Maybe some things that I need to think about in a different way. And I thought, yeah, I'll do that. I'll spend half an hour. I've got a flask, so I'm just going to sit here. It's slightly breezy, as you can see with that bit of hair. Slightly breezy at the moment, so I hope you can hear me. But there was a reason for my procrastination. When I was walking down to the plot, there was a lady that needed some help in shifting furniture from a van or a car with a sort of van back, if you like, to a neighbour's house. So I was able to help with that in a socially distanced manner, which was great. And then as I rounded the corner, I came across two really great wooden chairs that are going to be perfect for the shed, sitting outside somebody's house, free. There's quite a lot of things are given away for free, and people either put a sticker on them or they're on the wall, so you can take them. That happens quite a lot around where we are, and certainly we've put things out in the past that we think actually we don't want that anymore, we don't need it anymore. Baking dishes, things like that, and we've put them out, and within a few hours they're normally gone. So I will show you the two chairs, but I just thought I'd catch up with you now. I'm so delighted with these two chairs. I mean, fabulous, because I'm slightly large and I need something a little bit firm to sit on. And the chairs that we've got in the shed, which are sort of fold up, they're quite petite for my larger frame, let's say. So these chairs are really fantastically sturdy. I'm going to be positioning the coal frame this week. I am going to be digging that bed, as I said before, but really I'm just going to tickle it over, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, and then position the coal frame that we put up last week and put some lettuce into them. I've been thinking about the lettuce that are still on the bed by the polytunnel where we had our tomatoes, or some of our tomatoes. I was going to hook them all out, but actually the pigeons are really enjoying those at the moment. So I'm not going to take them out, because if the pigeons are enjoying those lettuces, because there's various varieties there, then they're not going to hopefully be munching on the Portuguese cabbage. So far, when we've having removed the nets from our brassicas, there is no pigeon damage. Touch wood. So yeah, I'm going to leave those lettuce in for as long as they last. So yeah, I'm making notes like that today. I've got my black book in the shed. I've also got my phone with me, and I use an app called Take Notes, which I think is Google. And I very often put a note into my phone because I've always got my phone with me, and then I'll transfer it into my little notebook for posterity, and then I can just flick through the pages to see what needs to be done. Well, that makes it sound as I've got pages and pages of things to do, which of course I haven't. Anyway, look, I'm rambling. Let me show you these chairs. I'm so excited. Aren't these great? Absolutely solid wooden chairs. I mean, obviously they're modern chairs, but that really is absolutely fine, and plenty of space for my posterior there. So yeah, thank you very much to the householder who put these out, because they are going to be very much used. So I've got a bit of shifting around of things I need to do in the shed and tidying around. Let me just show you that. This is the table and chairs I got a few weeks ago from a fellow plot holder. And there, over there, are deck chairs. There's cardboard and things that need to be sorted out over here. And we do have some chairs, some wooden chairs there, and also these metal chairs. So this is the metal chair that I normally sit on. So it will be lovely to have another, or that wooden chair, and then I can put these away to use when other people are around. Yeah, a lot of tidying to do. Those books need to go home and going to mum. This bag, this is my rubbish bag. It's time for that to go back home. And I want to remove, as you can see, this is the coal frame box, the green, which has got a bit of torn bit there. All of that's going to go in our compost bin. But tidying, Matt, is going to be another day. Right, so that's it for today. I will see you again tomorrow. I think it's getting colder. I'm not sure if we're going to have more rain or not. I hope we don't, because I really want to strim. But yeah, time will tell. See you again very soon. Bye. Good day. It is quite a grey day today. It's dry at the moment, though not dry enough, not dry enough to strim the grass. I really do want to get out there and strim the grass, but no point doing it when the grass is still wet. I received a comment today on last week's A Week at the Plot from Deirdre, who commented and asked a question about worms that she has in her compost bin and whether that was a problem. Basically, no. I mean, worms have been composting the earth for millennia and doing a really good job at it as well. So I wouldn't worry about worms in your compost bin. When there's no nutrients in there, they'll tend to move on. So when I open our compost bin, our Dalek compost bin, which we're using quite a lot at the moment, in fact, it's our most active, it is our most active Dalek cold compost bin. Our hot bin composter is also active. But when I open the cold Dalek compost bin, there are often worms around the lid at the top and on the sides. And basically they're keeping warm. There's some heat in that compost, and they're going in there, they're munching away, they're defecating, which is worm casts, and they're working that compost, they're turning that compost, they're aerating that compost. So they're doing a good job. In our hot bin composter, we do not get worms until the very end, really, of the process, because our hot bin composter is usually too hot. It sits around 35 degrees plus in the summer, and worms do not like that heat. They also don't like it being too cold, but they don't like heat in particular. When it is cold, you may find worms in your compost, and they're sort of like in a worm ball, because they all find a hot spot in the compost, or the warmer parts of the compost, and they congregate in that area. So if you see a worm ball in your compost, do not worry about it. The other worm thing that Deirdre's comment reminded me about was an upload that Vivi did a couple of weeks ago when she was taking out her flint corn. What she said is when you take out your flint corn, and it happens with other plants, it's happened with our brassicas and with our cosmos too. She said, leave the root ball, or leave the whole plant if you wish, but leave the root ball on the soil for a couple of days, because any worms and other creatures that are in there will generally escape from that root ball and go into your soil. Obviously, if you're not shredding your root ball, if it goes into a coal composter, then the worms can live in that coal compost as well, which is great. But if you're going to put them into a hot bin composter or a closed bin perennial composter like we've got, then make sure the worms are, well, give them an opportunity to get away and get back into the soil. The area, somebody's just waving at me. Let me come back to you. It was a fellow plot holder picking up a perennial kale, which was lovely. Right, where was I? Yes, the root ball of a plant, the area around the root ball of a plant, or the roots of a plant, is a rhizosphere, and it's really active. Because obviously not only is it a growing place where lots of roots are growing and taking in nutrients, but all of those small fibers on the roots and the roots themselves act as feed for lots of different things in the soil, microbial elements in the soil, microbial creatures in the soil, but also worms. So you will notice that when you take a root ball out, if there's quite a lot of earth around it, it will have very likely some worms in it. So do think about them. It's like washing vegetables at the plot before you take them home. You know, you spend so much time creating soil that you don't want to take that soil home with you and wash it down the sink or potentially put it into your garden. What you want to do is you want to wash your veg at the plot so that any soil comes off and you can just add it back onto your plot at the time. With worms, you know, worms are our friends, and everything that we can do to help worms is going to help our growing in our gardens and at our allotments. So do think about worms. They are the kings of composting. And well, in fact, they're hermaphrodites, so they're the kings and queens of composting, and we love them, and we want as many in our soil as possible. Though that does remind me of a horror film I once saw called The Worms, and maybe there were too many worms then. Anyway, look after your worms, and your worms will look after your soil. See you again soon. Bye. Good day. Just checking out the extra garlic that was planted. And look, it's coming up. Yay! I think I'll need to remove these because they were protecting from, let's pop them on the floor for a minute. They were protecting from squirrels, but look, that one's bent over, that one's bending over. That's a little sunflower, but that's coming out. But yeah, the Porcelain Music again, which is this lot here, are up very quickly, and this side is where the messidrome is, and nothing's showing there yet. But that's fine, because we know from the ones in the ground that the Porcelain Music came up really quickly, and the thermodrome and messidrome took their time. So we'll check again in another few days. Okay, that's it for now. I will see you again very soon. Bye. Good day. What a glorious day it is. Look, you can see the sun in the tree over there. It really is quite lovely at the moment. A bit breezy, but rather gorgeous at the same time. Look at the sun on those trees. It was going to be wet, or at least I read it was going to be wet, and it's certainly not. So I've decided that I am going to get the coal frame in, which is down there, and it's going to go, oh sorry, over here. This is where it's going to go, and I've put a stick in. This is the depth of the coal frame, and as you can see, there's a spinach there, perpetual spinach, and one over there in the middle that I may have to move. Maybe that one can stay, but this one will move. I'll just move it over there, so that'll be fine. And then I'm also going to take out this thyme at the edge and that Spanish lavender in there, cotton lavender rather. So yeah, let me get on with that, and then I'm just going to tickle this soil over. This whole bed I'm going to dig at some point, fork over at some point, in the same way that I did the onion bed here and the garlic bed over there. Because as you can see, as I've shown you before, there's cinquefoil, there's bindweed, some couch grass in there. So yeah, it's going to need a fork over, which is fine. But at the moment, I'm just going to give it a tickle. Just put another stick here, which is actually just slightly shorter than the width of the coal frame, just so that I know what I need to work with. Taken up a big root ball with that thyme. I'll pop it into a pot, but look, bindweed. I haven't got my weed bucket. These are the tent pegs that go into corners. There's holes in the corners. I'll show you in a minute. Just get some of them in. Right, let me show you that. So you can see down here, this is the corner bracket. This is molded plastic, and those are the pieces that were really giving me an issue last time, the molded plastic, putting it together. But you can see that there's holes in it. In each of the brackets at the corners there's holes, and these tent pegs go down and will hopefully hold that in place. I've got these little lettuce, which have got quite a decent root system, especially for this time of year. I'm just going to put 8 in here, which will be quite close. The soil tickled, the cold frame positioned and anchored, lettuce planted and watered, and now fingers crossed. Okay, see you again soon. Bye. Good day. We have just been a walk down the canal and up the canal. And as we were walking down the canal, I noticed some red berries. Look. 2 types here. The first is Hawthorn, which is also known as May. So that little saying, don't cast a clout till May is out, is actually about the May blossom. And a clout is a overcoat. So don't take your coat off until the May blossom is out. The second thing that I picked up was little rosehips. Turn it that way, can you see? Yeah, little rosehips. And inside they have seeds. I mean, there's seeds inside the hawthorn as well, but inside is seeds. And all I'm going to do is just break these up a little bit and then sow them in. Look, there's one come off in the gunk of my thing. And just sow them in a pot and cover them in maybe about 1 inch of soil. So a bit similar to how we've done with the acorns and the medlar and the apple a week or so ago. And we'll see if any of these germinate for the spring. The other thing that I'm going to be doing today, because it's just starting to spit, is I'm going to grab some chicken manure pellets and just scatter them over our onion bed and our garlic bed. and also over the old tomato bed next to the polytunnel and the one by the buddleia, so the two long beds by the polytunnel. Put chicken manure pellets down and just let that rain come down, soak into the chicken manure pellets, which will then break up and release their goodness into the soil. So that's it. Richard is roundabout somewhere taking photos, but I'm just going to get on quickly and sow these red berries. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye. Good day. As you may have gathered, I didn't get around to planting those hawthorn and the rosehips yesterday, so I've just done them today. It's a grey Saturday afternoon, but it is dry. And what happened yesterday is just as I was about to do that planting, it really started drizzling quite heavily. And as Richard was down here with his camera, we scooted back home and I thought, no, I'll get on and do that tomorrow. So that's what I've done. You may have noticed that, or you may not have noticed, when I was scattering the chicken pellets, I had tested which way the wind was blowing, and I was upwind scattering that down so that any dust that came would blow away from me rather than blowing towards me. A bit like scattering ashes from an urn, if anyone's seen that particular episode of a comedy program. So I've done that today. I'm adding additional nutrients to that soil because I really want to keep the nutrition of that soil going over winter. And that will be it now until the spring. I will do nothing apart from weeding. And most of the weeding in the onion and the garlic bed is going to be hand weeding. I'll also be doing chicken pellets on the ones by the long beds by the polytunnel, which I've mentioned already. And yeah, I am going to show you now inside the polytunnel because there's something there that, yeah. Anyway, let's get into the poly. Everything continues to do well in the poly, but I do need to remove these which are going to seed. It's interesting, it's all the Marvel of Four Seasons. This one here, which is Northern Queen, seems quite happy to not go to seed. But that's fine because I've got these seedlings to replace them. But what I did want to show you is our pea shoots. We have mice in the polytunnel. Look, they've bitten off the ends. Ah, bless. So I think I'll be doing some more pea shoots, but at the house. There we are. You win some, you lose some. But what this does show is that they grow pretty well if they're the marrow fat peas, the dried marrow fat peas, because very few have rotted away. Okay, see you again soon. Bye. Good day. Back in the poly, and I'm going to be taking two plants out, this tall one and this one here, and harvesting the leaves from them and replacing them with lettuce seedlings that we already have in modules. And I'm going to leave the rest in, which, as you can see, quite a few are going to seed. And then another day, I'll harvest these two here, have those leaves nice and fresh, and then replace those two with other seedlings. That way, hopefully, we'll have a nice successional harvesting over the coming weeks for lettuce that we can use in wraps and salads. And then we'll also be replacing them with plants that will give us other lettuce leaves in the spring. So I have lettuce for lunch. I think we're going to have halloumi wraps for lunch, which will be lovely. And we'll also be having some for this evening. I'm not quite sure what we're having this evening. I'm sitting here because the sun is coming out. It is a glorious, glorious day. But at this time of day and at this time of year, if I'm in the shed, the sun just blazes into the shed door. And I like having the shed door open when I'm doing filming. I think the sound is a little bit better. But anyway, I just wanted to round up this A Week at the Plot, just mentioning this book, Monty and Sarah Don's The Jewel Garden, a story of despair and redemption. I picked this up off our bookshelves as part of Vivi's lockdown challenge for this week. I love reading. I really adore reading. Though for some reason, over the last 6 months, I just haven't. Every time I've picked up a book, I've sort of found something else to do. And I love that quiet time with a book that you get. So it was fantastic to have that lockdown challenge from Vivi. So thank you very much, Vivi. And picking up this book, which I literally put my finger along the shelves with my eyes shut and put my finger down on a book spine and took it off the shelf. Reading this book has just given me that quiet time on Friday and Saturday, and it's really been enjoyable. I'm going to be doing a regular review of books. I think they'll first appear on our Ko-fi page, our coffee page. That's ko-fi.com/Richard and Paul. And then they'll most probably be made available on YouTube. Not sure yet, but we'll see. But I realise I've got a lot of books which are about people's mental health and how growing and gardening has helped them in their lives and has helped them through challenging times. And certainly, you know, just this year with COVID, you know, we're in that situation where I know this plot has helped me and my mental health in such a great way this year. So I'm going to be looking at those books. I'm not going to be looking at the how to grow books. You know, we know all of those, and you know, if you want to have a look at those how to grow books, there's plenty out there, and I might suggest a few beneath this video. Beneath this video. But these are going to be more about how gardening and growing have inspired or changed people's lives. because I really think the value of having your hands in the soil and working the soil and growing and understanding how nature evolves and how the seasons change and how growing environments and growing conditions change over the year. In fact, it was really interesting when I got to the plot today. Two of my fellow neighbouring plot holders were having a chat about growing by phases of the moon. So we started having a conversation about that and how when there's a full moon, the draw of the moon, because it on water is so great. I mean, that's why we have tides, because of the draw of the moon. It's just fascinating. It's fascinating, and I don't know enough about things like that, so I'm not an expert to speak about them, but I'm sure that the draw of the moon, the pull of the moon, which affects tides, also affects water in our own bodies and potentially in the soil and in the plants as well. And I know that there is a university in the UK that is doing a study on whether water is drawn up to the surface more at certain times of phases of the moon and then falls back at other times. I mean, fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And I'm looking forward to that study. It's a 5-year study. So it'll be interesting to see the results of that I think that will be 2023 when that actually comes out. But anyway, look, I'm rambling. I will let you go. Thank you very much for watching A Week at the Plot. Please do subscribe if you'd like to. If you'd like to support us financially and get extra bonus podcasts and things, then go to our coffee page. That's ko-fi.com/Richard and Paul. And join us at Planet Vegetaria as well, and on our Facebook page, Richard and Paul, and Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, we're on a number of platforms. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you again very soon for more episodes from A Week at the Plot. Bye. You have a